So hey everybody, this is John with Dead Drift Outdoors. My plan today was to go after some big browns on a local creek. The water was up really nice yesterday. It was coming down a little bit. It had a little stain to it, and today was going to be the day to hit it. But unfortunately, we did get another slug of rain last night and turned it into chocolate milk. So just kind of looking for a plan B, and I decided there was some areas I wanted to check out, maybe do some scouting. So I figured maybe a good thing to do would be a quick video. I get a lot of questions about, how I find some of these streams that aren't well publicized, especially brook trout streams. Those are the toughest. But so basically what's happened so far today, I hadn't been filming, so I'll just explain it to you. But basically what I'm on now is a tributary to a stream that's a tributary to a stream that has brook and brown trout. So, any of the tributaries are fair game. So that's usually where you want to start. You want to start with a good trout stream that has wild fish or stockfish. A lot of times stockfish can naturalize, often by going up into higher quality tributaries to spawn. So anyway, so I know this stream has, there's access to wild fish. I haven't fished it before. So what I did, I looked at some maps, I looked at access points, and then I drove around. First of all, I noticed it was much clearer. The water flows are very fishable. It's very clear. It's a really tiny stream up where I am now, but I was down lower, and things look good. And then I found, this is one of my secrets, I guess. Not most people probably know about it, but culvert holes. So culvert holes, often, if they're done well, can actually create pretty good downstream habitat, good pools, and also, even if the land's posted, you can stand usually on the road, so you're not technically trespassing, and you can fish from there usually. I mean, the spot I fished wasn't posted. The upstream side was, but the downstream wasn't, and I just kind of drove by it, saw a really nice looking hole, pulled over, grabbed my spinning rod. I often use a spinning rod just because it's super easy on these little streams to kind of locate fish. So if you don't like using spinning rods, you could certainly use a fly rod. I usually use a fly rod for most of my fishing, but I almost always have a little spinning rod, a little ultralight in the back of my rig just for that reason. So anyway, I stopped at this culvert hole, and I wasn't filming. I did have my phone in my pocket, but I wasn't really planning on doing a video since the other stream was blown out. So I made a couple casts, nothing. I probably actually made like 10 casts into this culvert hole, nothing. Usually if there's fish in there, they're usually pretty aggressive. But so I was, I could have just given up, but I actually was like, I wasn't getting it very deep, and I was fishing from above. So I went back to my truck and grabbed a big heavy split shot, put it on. I just had like a little Panther Martin. So I put the weight on, threw it in, and then first cast with the heavier weight, I see maybe a 4 or 5 inch, what looked like a trout. It darted right up and swiped at it. So I was like, ooh, maybe it's a brookie. So I made a different cast and let it get real deep. And I thought I was snagged. I felt something and pulled on it. It was a big old brown. I mean, for this size stream, it was a big brown. It was like maybe 15 inches, 14, 15 inches. I did take a picture of it and a quick video of letting it go. But then I went farther upstream, looking at maps, and I saw some state land. I didn't actually realize when I started on this creek that there was some state land that maybe had some fishable water. So I came up on state land, and there was a trail to go in. I decided to keep going up this road here, to where it got a little bit, it's a little bit farther upstream, but I figured I'd check it out. Should have been filming, because then I just fished actually another culvert hole, and I had a little follow from what looked to be like a 3-inch trout. So I went downstream just with my hiking shoes on here, got my foot a little wet, and I found a good spot where there was a tree down, and some deep water going under it. And you find a spot like that, and that's like your litmus test. You find a really good pool with a little spinning rod like that. I mean, if there's trout in there, you're probably gonna see them. So yeah, first cast caught a little brook trout, so that's really cool. So I know there's brookies in here. And second cast, I had another one hit. So the stream looks pretty small. I bet it gets really dry when it's a low summer. But there's brookies in here, and maybe 2 miles downstream, there's another trib that comes in. I know that there's some potential to grow some big fish. So I think I'm going to go ahead and fish it just to have something to film for you guys to show you, because this is still part of the process. I mean, I've only just stopped and fished for a couple minutes, so I don't really know, if there's any real numbers of fish, if there's any size, if it's something worth coming back to. So yeah, I'll bring you along. And I got actually a culvert hole right here I'm going to hit with the fly rod. It's not as good as that other one, but it looks decent. And then yeah, and then I got a ton of state land. I got two stretches of straight land with some trails, so I should be able to string something together and make something of this day, and maybe give you guys a little insight on how I find these streams. A lot of times they're not great. I mean, half the time I catch nothing or chubs. Once in a while I'll find these little brook trout streams. I don't usually publish the videos, because sometimes all I catch are just a couple few maybe 3-4 inch trout at the best, so they're real marginal, not really worth a video. But again, for today, since we're doing kind of a how-to, I'll bring you guys along, and you can check it out. Yeah, all right, so I'm getting myself in position here, and I just grabbed my little 2-8, my little 6.5 foot 2-8 for this tiny stream. And fly choice on these little streams, not very important. Just a little tiny attractor should do the trick. I just put on a little 16 humpy, little yellow humpy. And yeah, we got a culvert hole right here, so I'm gonna make my way around the edge. Stealth is much more important than fly choice on these little creeks. These fish are very spooky. You want to consider the sun, your shadow. It's often a huge factor. In this case, it's right in front of me here. That's good. You want to stay with vegetation kind of right behind you to your side to kind of break up your silhouette. You want to stay low. Now today the water is pretty darn high, so we should be good. How's it going? Having fun.
That's cool, man. Well, cool. Hey, yeah. Enjoy it.
Thanks,
you got
man.
A nice day. It was kind of nice when it was a little overcast, a little sunny.
I know. It's all good. It's all good.
It's a nice day and it's not too hot.
I'm not.
And it's quiet. I'll leave you in peace.
I'm not complaining, man.
Cool. Awesome, man.
No, it's
Thanks
good
a lot,
to see
man.
you guys. I like seeing you out. So.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, we're happy to do it. You know? Pays the bills.
There you go, dude.
Enjoy the day. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. You too. Just had a DC officer come through. Pretty nice dude. Chatted with him a little bit. Talked about fishing access and posted property stuff. Just asking him some questions about access, and pretty much always what I've thought. So it was interesting. Really nice guy though. He was real friendly, and he was psyched to see me out here fishing. So that was cool. Anyway, we'll get back to it. Ooh, nice one. That is a decent brookie. I was not expecting that. Holy. Holy moly. I was thinking the two I just caught below were like 2-3 inches. This is a solid brook trout. Look at that. That's a gorgeous fish. Heck yeah. What a great feeling to find this little stream, and now I know it's capable of growing some decent little brook trout. That is a very nice fish. All right, so there's a little trout in this pool. He chased it a couple times. So I just took a quick little break and put a different fly on. There we go. We'll see if he stays on. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say, he's pretty little. He's trying. He's trying to eat it. He's a little too small, I think. There he is. I spoke too soon. Not a brook trout that you'd drive days to catch, but still a good sign that there's a healthy population in here. Ooh, there's one. There we go. It's a good sign. A lot of fish. A short period of time here. Whoop, another little guy squirted out of my hand. So another tactic for locating these streams or assessing the quality of streams is, you know, on a day like this, every stream is gonna look decent, and they're gonna fish well, so that's helpful. But if you're just doing, you know, recon and looking at streams, I find that some of the best times to go are when the conditions are poor, when it's been low water, because some of these creeks will dry right up completely in spots. So you'll see that, and then also just get in there and take a temperature on a hot, you know, day with low water. If it, you know, if you're getting 60 degrees and there's water when it's low, you're probably gonna find trout, from my experience. Oh, there it is. Oh, that was a good one. Wow. I don't know how much that'll show up, but man, that was kind of cool. I managed to throw a cast between those two branches, and a nice, like, I don't know, 6-7 inch brookie came up and smacked it. All right, so a little technique for a spot like this. The best spot really is where that little riffle kind of dumps into this undercut, and there's obviously some brush in there, and there's really no way to get a cast in there. Maybe at the end when I stand up I can bow and arrow a cast behind that, but so I really, you know, I worked a fly along here hoping maybe one would come up, and then I plugged one in that little triangle, and just kind of, even at one point I laid it over the log and just kind of twitched it, and then I knew my only other shot was going to be if there was a fish in here, that he'd be up in the faster water, and I had to get a cast between those two branches, which it's pretty tough. But my technique is get low. You know, I'm on my knees right now, and when you do make your cast, you want to throw a really tight loop, which, you know, I just basically do a sidearm cast like this. I mean, I'm parallel to the water, and just I give it a really good quick acceleration forward to kind of keep that loop tight, and just try to punch it in there. You're gonna get caught on stuff constantly, but sometimes like that you get it through. So we know the water quality is really good on this stream because of all the brookies, but it does look like it's had some flooding issues, as most of the creeks around here have. As I'm getting up here though, it's starting to look a little better, a little more natural. All right, this is a pretty nice pool. Certainly easy to fish. I got a lot of, ooh, I see a brookie. So, another case in point for tactics. Really scan the water. I I don't have polarized glasses on right now. I have them with me, but I don't need them. So I'm checking out this pool, and what you want to do is just move your eyes around, pick a spot that's solitary, and just look for movement. And you look for that telltale shape. So right away I see a decent brookie right about there. He looks decent sized. And when they're feeding, they'll often move out of the better spots where you'd think they'd be into a position to feed. So he's definitely in a feeding spot, and we should be able to, I think we got a pretty good chance of catching this fish. I'm gonna stay low. I can still see him. I'm gonna try to get my cast right up along the side here. There he is. Oh, I lost him. Darn it, that was still cool. I cast to his right, he moved right over to get it. And that was still a pretty cool example, although I didn't hook him. That was a good one. I mean, he was, ooh, there you go. He hit it again. You never know. All right. I am impressed. That's a decent little brookie for this little stream. These are some good fish. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Really nice. Sight fishing to wild trout on a stream that probably almost never ever gets fished. Who would have thunk it? And I had no knowledge that this stream had brook trout in it. People ask, you know, if there's a website I use, and I mean, there are some websites that can kind of help a little bit. I can, you know, link those down below. But really, it's again, getting out, putting in some time, and trying to find these beautiful treasures. Look at that. There he goes. Man, he's pretty. I mean, catching a fish like that to me doesn't get much better. Come here, dude. Flowers and trout. All right, buddy. All right, over the limb cast. Don't be afraid to cast over a tree limb. Sometimes it makes it tricky to land them, but a little guy like this, you can just scoop them right up. Ooh, there's a nice fish rising right at the tail. Oh, right, he chased it. He just chased it right downstream. Oh, where'd he go? There we go. That was pretty neat. right before I cast, I saw this guy come up and rise. My first cast was pretty short, and he chased it right down over the riffle, and then he scooted right back up into the pool. That's pretty neat. So I just came up on this really nice pool, and I spotted at least 3 brookies in the tail to midsection feeding. So I couldn't pass up the chance to try to film it. I only have my iPhone, so I don't have my big fancy camera with me today. So I don't know how good the footage will be, but it's fun. All right, so let me see if I can find him. There's one. Oh, he just ate. That was cool. And I redid my leader. I put on some 5X tippet. I've got about, I don't know, probably 9 feet. We'll see if I can cast it with this little tiny rod, but. And I put on just a really small, like 18, maybe a 16 hare's ear caddis. Pretty basic fly. Oh, just spooked him. Shoot. Might be all right though. There's several fish. All right, I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to get any of these fish. My first cast spooked one up from the tail, and then my second cast spooked another, but managed to get one up and get this really rosy pink brook trout. Beautiful fish. All right, so I just got back to where I parked. Yeah, this was pretty good afternoon. I only really fished for about 3 hours. I don't know how many fish I caught. A lot of small brookies, but some really nice ones too. So definitely a successful day for me. I didn't have a plan to film a sort of how I go about finding some of these streams. So I don't know how polished it's going to be, but hopefully it'll be helpful for some of you guys out there. You know, I certainly get some of your messages about how I find these streams. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing I would say, look at maps, look for likely candidates, look for state land, and then just get out and explore. I mean, these fish aren't terribly difficult to catch. Some of them are in spots it's hard to cast to, but if you can get a flying from them, they'll hit. And don't be afraid to use a spinning rod. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a spinning rod to sort of scout like I did today. I mean, sometimes I feel like it just saves me time to figure out what's in a creek. So plus I got a really nice big brown trout to start the day. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it's helpful for some of you. If you did enjoy it, definitely give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.